Hello. Three, two, one. Hello. Hi. Welcome. Selena, the time did indeed change. Rhea, you're first. Congratulations. Selena, you're not first. Congratulations. Rhea, resubscribed. Everything happening right off the bat. Welcome, welcome. So yeah, I actually ended up buying some new ingredients for this today because I didn't have what I was looking for. But I trying to use up some stuff. So we've got some bread. I last couple slices of bread from a loaf. I left them out so they could get nice and dry. We are going to attempt to make a French toast pizza out of them. Using some of the leftover cheese from our last pizza attempt. Uh, Onions, peppers, things I've already got. I did end up buying pepperoni. And I went with these little grape tomatoes because I figure I can also snack on them and we can get them used up before I go either way. Glacier. I don't want to distract you from driving. So, congratulations on being not first, but also eyes on the road. So yeah, I don't know this is going to be super complicated because it's not super complicated. Um, oh my God. Selena! Selena! Thank you so much for the resub. Get in here. Get on in here. Come on. Um, we have a couple new emotes. I'm not sure when you last saw the emotes. But yeah, we got a couple new emotes. I think we filled up all. No, I've got a couple animated slots. I saw one I want to do. We'll have to wait for that to come on the back end. I also figured out how to get the Discord link to work. Turns out when you're live, actually live, Discord clicks over to streamer mode, which makes it secure, so you don't accidentally spit stuff out into the ether. That includes their Discord link option. That's why I could never get the link because I was trying to grab it while I was live. I grabbed it in advance. Now we have a link. Thank you for some of the hype train. You guys kicked off a hype train. My phone just made a noise as well. So yeah, I'm gonna try to not make a colossal mess today. We'll see how that works. I'm gonna try to use up some things that I know are gonna go off, like the bread and the cheese. And we're gonna make a thing. We're gonna make a thing. I'm pretty confident in this thing, so I'm not gonna say this is massively an experiment. It's gonna be an interesting texture. I know that the process is gonna work. It's just gonna be an interesting texture. So yeah, I guess let's get to it. Let's get all up in it. I've already got the bread laid out right here because I laid it out in advance so they'd be nice and dry before I kneaded them. Proper French toast is made with stale bread. Oh, we're gonna bake this. We're gonna make French toast, and then we're also gonna at least broil it. Proper French toast is made with stale bread. It is one of the many recipes that came out of the need to use up bread that had gone dry and stale, because bread used to do that very, very fast before modern conditioners and stuff. If you make your own homemade bread, you will know that. Bread goes stale very quickly. This bread was store-bought. It was a store-bought brioche. They had I still have the bag here. Brioche. Which actually It contains some oils. It contains calcium propionate. So it's got a few things to prevent it from going off. Um, I still haven't managed to make a good loaf. My loaves tend to come out kind of round and lumpy. And this was 70 cents for a loaf because they were clearancing it, so I couldn't say no. So, but this is the end. It's never going to last for me to get back to it, so we're going to use it today. We've also got three duck's eggs. I did not purchase any milk. We're going to try to do this with powdered milk, which will keep, but I know that fresh milk would not. So it turns out duck's eggs haven't gone up in price. They were already more expensive, but at least for me, because they're enormous compared to, look at how big these things are. They're so much bigger than chicken's eggs that, like, pound for pound, chicken's eggs have caught up and passed them. So duck's eggs are more economical, which is sad because they're definitely used to be like a luxury option. You guys nailed the hype train, level 1. So, for making French toast, first of all, I want to get out my trays and do all that while we're talking. For making French toast, you want a bread that you can get that will go stale. Selena, you said you missed it? That shouldn't be true. It even on my thing it says 2 subs. You and Rayuya. I don't know. Let's see. What was I saying? Bread. The kind of bread. The bread needs to go stale. It should have some substance to it. We only got to level 1, so if you've already got the level 1 emotes, then it wouldn't distribute any more emotes. That tray was not quite big enough. I don't know if I have one that's going to be bigger than that to lay out. We might have to do 2 and 2. 2 and 2 for sure would work. I could use the small tray for that. Little guy. Even though slightly awkward sizes here. I just yesterday, just yesterday I got an emote that I have been hunting for a while. And I love it. It's this one. What container am I going to put these in? What was it? The bread for French toast. You want something that's got some sturdiness to it. A good sandwich bread. If it's too much of a really soft, cakey bread to begin with, it's gonna turn out super soggy. I'm actually a little concerned that this brioche, even though I've let it dry out, might have been too soft to begin with. We'll find out. Brioche is a very soft bread. on account of all the butter in it. So, to that end, I think a pumpernickel rye would actually be sturdy enough to make a very nice French toast structurally. The flavors are going to be a little bit weird because French toast usually goes sweet, and rye tends to be a very assertive flavor that will punch right through that. This is too big. All my trays are just slightly the wrong size. All my trays are just slightly the wrong size. I don't know. I'm not willing to count it out, but I think you would want to play around with the flavors a bit. I don't think it would work super well just straight up. I think that's the closest I'm going to get where I can get all 4 of them in a single tray. All my rest of my trays are slightly awkward sizes. And then I can also use this one for baking the things at the end. So I think we're going to stick with this and just use it for all of our stages. Okay, that's decided. We need to get the breads in the goo first so they can gooify, soak it all in. These eggs are so huge. And the membranes are so membranous. Okay. Duck egg. Boy, I don't know about you guys, but it's so warm here. Oh, interesting. I don't know what to tell you then, Raya. It's my feed here says that hype train complete at level 1. Maybe you have to get to 100%. I'm not sure. It says hype train complete at level 1, 63%. Community contributed a total of 2 subs and 0 bits. Ah, see, that's the issue. Just kicking it off isn't enough. You've got to get to that first level. See, I've got all the level 1 emotes from having been around a while. So, it never pops up with 1 for me. Okay, so powdered milk. To make 1 cup of milk out of powdered milk, 1/4 cup of dry milk to 1 cup of water. And 1/4 cup is 4 tablespoons. So if I do 2 tablespoons of dry milk and 1/2 cup of cold water. That is as though I had just added half a cup of milk. Jay, welcome, welcome. Hello, hello. We are indeed going to be experimenting with the thing that you just said that is the thing that I said. I think we're graduating from fork to actual whisk to make sure that this is getting incorporated. Now, if I recall, it's been a while since I made French toast. If I recall, you want more goo than you think you do because the bread soaks it up quite a lot, and you want the bread to be really soaked in with it. So I'm tempted. First of all, I want to juice this up with a little bit more milk powder. But I'm tempted to throw another egg in there. But also because we have the eggs to be used. What do you guys think? Another egg? This is going to ultimately lean in the direction of like a croque monsieur, where we've got toast, cheese, sauce. We could throw an egg on top of one of these guys and call that a thing. I'm going to start whisking in this dose of milk. I have no reference recipes up, not even one for French toast. I'm doing this by memory and by ear. I think I want a second egg in here. I think I want to egg this up a lot. It's called eggy bread, after all. For some reason, that's what they call this in England. Oops. Eggy bread. Don't know why. Kind of makes sense, but a little bit of a... Oh yes, some eggy bread. So I'll make an eggy. We're essentially making a custard. You essentially make a custard. And then you soak your stale bread in said custard. And now, last time I tried to make a savory French toast, I salted this part. I put salt in the custard mix, and the thing came out too salty. Now, I don't want to make this sweet either, so I'm skipping the sugar, which means I think that's our end point for the mix. And for cleanup's sake, we're getting out some plastic wrap. Corner of which, of course, folded over and clinged to itself in the way that I hate that cling wrap always seems to do. I need you to not be folded over, little stupid piece of plastic. Okay. Anyways, hi Jay. How's it going? Welcome in. What's new? We can't always be making Canadian food around here just to appease our overlords. Sometimes you got to make French-Italian food. Anyways. I'm going to do this with a scooper so that I can pour this on top. Am I? No. I'm going to just pour it in. I'm going to try to not make as many dishes as I usually make. Okay. And then we will give these guys a flip and a flip. Make sure the surfaces are all well coated. Don't want any dry spots. Jay's doing good, just chilling. That's good to hear. I'm doing the opposite of chilling because it's very warm here. My computer just said it was 69 degrees, which, nice. But also, yeesh, that's warm. Okay, our eggy bread is going to rest in its eggy bath over to the side here. While we get on with other things. Put away that. We don't need I don't think we need the powder milk anymore. Let's keep it out just in case. We are going to make our own pizza sauce out of grape tomatoes. Oop, not that one. That one looks gnarly. This isn't exactly tomato season. But what are you gonna do? But what are you gonna do? Speaking of what are you going to do, I got some weird spotting on this stainless steel pan, and I don't know what caused it or how to get rid of it. Just pepperoni. I have pepperoni, jalapeno, and onion. And that was my topping of choice. I didn't want to get... I wanted to get things that I would either use all of, or that I figured would keep since I'm going to be gone now for a while. That's one of the considerations here. I'm not sure what caused... I'm not sure what... It's all smooth. I'm not sure what caused this on the pan. Vinegar is probably a decent idea to try to eat whatever that is. Anyways, we'll use this pan because this pan looks better. I'm going to put a splash of vinegar in that pan right away since I've got it handy and I'm thinking of it. Hopefully that will etch out those brown spots a little bit. Whatever it is, it's on the surface, but it didn't come off when I washed it, so unclear. I also have to consider that these French toasts aren't, like, very big, so I can't do too many toppings, or they're just going to be drowned in toppings. So I figured a bell pepper would be too big, but if I seed out a jalapeno, that'll give us sort of smaller pieces. This little packet of pepperonis was actually more economical pound for pound than the big ones, and it comes with 2 individual sealed pouches, so I can open one, throw the other one in, or leave the other one sealed, and we don't have to worry about it. And then I can just do snacking with, there's a couple left of this one. We might even cut these down a little bit to make sure they fit on our pan, or on our pizzas. And our mozzarella cheese, which we only have that much of. That should be enough to cover those 4 pieces. We can grate some parm in there as well to give it a little bit of character. And we've got, of course, all of our dry spices, some of which are going in the sauce, some of which we're going to sprinkle on directly. Because I didn't want to buy anything that I thought would go off while I was gone. I put a splash of vinegar on it. I will just scrub that up when I get to the cleanup tonight, because we're definitely cleaning all this up tonight, because otherwise I have to do it tomorrow, and I've got other things to do tomorrow. I'm leaving on Wednesday, so I've got everything, Wednesday morning, so I've got to get everything situated and set away before then. So yeah. Bring this pot over here. This pot has just something slightly crusty on the bottom, which is my fault for not cleaning it last time. Empanada. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. Ooh, these grape tomatoes weren't as nice as they looked when I got them. That one's a little bit iffy on the inside. This one looks fine. The first one looked fine. Let me give you a shout out there, Empanada. Hi, welcome in. Nice dancing bear. I enjoy a dancing bear. Pizza. So we're making French toast. We're making savory French toast. And then I'm using that as the crust for our pizzas. We're making little mini pizzas out of it. I'm making my own sauce because I knew that this otherwise would not take a lot of effort. With the goal of, I had the end of a loaf of bread that I want to use up. And I wanted something that wouldn't result in a ton of cleanup because I have other things to do in preparation for my trip aside from cleaning up my own messes. I'm throwing this one away. This one didn't look very good when I got into it. Yeah, we're soaking up our breads over here. I'm rotating them every once in a while because we're on a slight slope. We're on a slight slope over there, so one side gets a little bit more of the juice than the other. We got to rotate it. We're gonna give that some olive oil to get us cooking. Olive oil and some salt. I'd like to make just enough sauce to use all the sauce. Which is why I didn't buy a whole container of sauce. Which is one of the two reasons why I did buy a whole container of sauce. Shout out Imestrelas. You've been shouted. Let's keep cutting tomatoes. I don't think that's gonna be quite enough. The tomato sauce for pizza does not need to be as thoroughly cooked as for pasta because you bake it. In fact, some would argue that you should use just crushed raw tomatoes and let the heat of the oven do all of the cooking for your tomatoes. I'm not going that far, but we don't need to stew these into a complete mush. We just need them to break down so that they become saucy, which we could do by just crushing them. But I am going to do by slicing them into chunks and then cooking them out a little bit. Tomato. We should throw some onion and some garlic in there as well. We're gonna wipe up the tomato juice real quick. Everybody go check out Imestrelas, who we also call empanada for some reason. For some reason. I don't think she looks anything like an empanada, but, you know. Maybe she tastes like an empanada. There's only one way to find out. Garlic tube. Garlic tube. We can move our pot over there. Good. I'm glad I can still surprise you after all these years. Garlic tube. Garlic tube. Cisternandas. We're getting rid of the sprouts. Also, this garlic is sprouting. That's not usually ideal. I don't have a place to plant garlic, but I should probably be planting these sprouting garlics instead of not doing that. But we are going to crush them. I'm actually going to crush them. Normally I don't crush things directly into the pot, but there's no heat on the pot right now. So there's no danger in destroying our garlic by crushing it directly into heat. Never crush your garlic directly into the heat. It's got to stand for at least a minute, preferably a little bit longer, to properly develop its garlicky flavor after you've crushed it. Which it will do amply over here. While I dice up a little bit of onion for it. You didn't know that. Yeah, I've talked about this several times, but I guess it's been a while since I went on the full spiel about it. We try to be educational around here. So that pungent garlic flavor that we all love in our garlic is a chemical that is not present in the garlic when it is intact. Oops, squeak. It is formed by a chemical reaction. The reason it's so pungent is that it is highly volatile, which also means it doesn't last very long. It's produced by a chemical reaction in the garlic between an enzyme and a different molecule that's in the garlic. They only get to meet up when you bust up the garlic's cells. But of course, it doesn't happen instantaneously. It takes them a little bit. The idea, evolutionarily, the idea is that the stuff will be at its most pungent right when an animal tries to bite into the garlic. For our purposes, because we want that, we crush it up and let it rest a minute. And the reason we have to let it rest is that those two things, those two precursors, are not heat stable. If you heat them, they break down. Whereas the final flavor that we're after is heat stable. So you can throw that in the heat and it will be fine. So you let your garlic rest, and that's also why jarlic and garlic powder and all those sort of preserved garlics never have that punch, that real punch that fresh garlic does. It's because that stuff has already volatilized out by the time you get to it. Because it's been a while by the time you get to it. Thus, whatever you're planning on doing to your garlic, be it mincing or crushing or pulverizing or grating, we've done grated garlic a few times to really turn it into an absolute paste. Do that and then let it sit around for at least a minute before you put it on anything hot. It's also a good way to know how to control the level of garlickiness. You can make something more garlicky without adding more garlic by letting the garlic rest longer and develop that flavor. Okay. Garlic shallots and our grape tomatoes in the pot. I'm going to start us out on medium until we start to sizzle, and I think I'm going to take us down a little bit. That is also going to want some oregano. And some basil, both of which I have in powdered form, or dried flaky form, because they keep a long, long time like that. I suppose I have been less educational in recent streams compared to how I used to be. I used to, like, really try to talk through what I was doing a lot more. And I think I stopped because most of the people I was talking to had already heard my spiels. But we have had a bunch of new people show up since I sort of changed gears. So I guess we're back to it. Back to doing that. While that's getting started, I'm going to put the lid on it. I'm going to put the lid on that pot. Let's slide back over here. Let's take a peek at our eggy bread. We'll give it a rotate that way. We'll also give each of these guys a rotate that way. So when you use stale dry bread to make your French toast, it is quite important that you let it really soak through, because you don't want a dry, sad, stale little middle in your eggy bread. And this is part of why it's quite good to have a bread that has a little bit more structure to it, because a soft bread will often lose a lot of its integrity in the process of soaking. And I think this one is starting to do that. So honestly, the best bread for French toast is like a rustic home loaf that's got like structure to it. A good like sandwich bread. Anyways, we're going to set these guys aside once again. They have been rotated. Now that I've got this shallot out, I think we're going to do shallot instead of the red onion, because I don't want the rest of that guy to go to waste. And the unsliced red onion will survive until I get back to it. I'm not sure what that green spot is. I think the shallot might have been trying to sprout, but starting in a weird place. So to that end, I'm going to cut up the remainder of this shallot. There's going to be more here than I need. This is an enormous shallot. By the way, I don't know where Woodman's finds these gigantic shallots, but they always have just the biggest shallots I've ever seen. They often break their own record with bigness of shallot. I'm also going to taste test this jalapeno by tasting the tip here, because not all jalapenos are spicy. They come in a wide range of spice levels. That one's actually quite mild, which I don't mind for the purposes of this recipe. The seeds are going to be hotter, as is the pith. So we're going to take the pith all over the place. Out of this thing. Because what I really wanted was a tiny bell pepper. A tiny green bell pepper was the thing I wanted for this, and you can't have that. It doesn't exist. So I picked through and found what looked like a decent jalapeno. In the hopes that it would not be on the mega spicy side of the jalapeno spectrum. And it looks like that has paid off. So I will get little jalapeno slices for my little pizzas. And I like the look of these little rings, so I'm going to keep them as little rings. Ooh, I can smell the tomatoes. They are definitely doing a thing. We should go check on them real soon. This is a very seedy jalapeno, too. The seeds went all the way to the bottom. That's not super common. Homer. Hiya, Homer. Hiya, Homer. Right now, we are preparing toppings for our mini French toast pizzas. And also, we are soaking our breads for our French toast pizzas. And also, we are starting our tomato sauce. And we are deciding whether I want more tomatoes in it. And I think we're turning the temperature down. We want more tomatoes in it. I'm going to put that on to prevent it from drying out. I am not saving those seeds for my garden. I have never started peppers from seed. It is fiddly. But I think we need more tomatoes in that sauce to balance out the amount of the other stuff I put in there. So we're going to cut some more tomatoes. I considered just putting sliced tomato on my pizza. Like margarita style. It's a bit late for that as a mainline thing. I've also had bad luck buying seedlings. I'm just not great with that sort of type of plant. Eggplants as well. I don't really have a good planting space for them. My gardening options at this house are substandard. Which is why I mostly do herbs. Herbs are easy to keep in pots. Ow. Ow. Ow! That hurt! I think we need a pot holder. I think we need a pot holder, because that hurt. Okay, cook out those tomatoes a bit. And yes, I know I left the skins in. I know that's going to mean there's going to be awkward little skins. I'm going to add a little bit of tomato paste to juice it up a little bit. That does need to be cooked out. Tomato paste, uncooked tomato paste tastes unpleasant. It has a metallic taste to it that goes away when you cook it. So it'll also help this be a little bit more red. I think I'm going to go in there with a masher real quick too and just give these guys a smush. Where's my smusher? Come to me, smusher. Stick blending it would be the way to really get it. But I don't mind it being a little on the chunky side. I'm going to keep that real low. Put the lid back on. Okay, we've only got a few tomatoes left, which is good. I wanted to get through the tomatoes. Is that enough? Should be enough sauce to cover those 4 guys. hopefully. Actually, what do you guys think? Is that enough sauce? What do you guys think? Is that going to be enough? It should be enough. You don't need a ton. We shouldn't need a ton of sauce. I'm going to say yes. This should be more than enough onion. We are going, well, I used grape tomatoes, so they're naturally a little bit sweet. I haven't added any sugar, so I'm not deliberately going for sweet. I'm angling towards savory, which also accounts for the toppings. Hi, Bookwoman. This is the size, oop, you guys are over there looking at the stove. This is the size of our pizzas. They're literally slices of sandwich bread. So there's going to be 4 of them. I think that's going to be enough to give us a nice sort of thinnish layer. We could, if there's extra sauce, turn that into a, because twice now Ray has mentioned sauce in the context of having like a syrup on a French toast. We could turn extra sauce into a topping sauce as opposed to the pizza-ing sauce. Those are probably getting pretty close to capacity on their ability to soak up more of our egg goo. We are going to want to open up the pepperonis. We're also going to want to wipe off the tomato juice. I find it weird that the smaller packet of pepperoni that I got because I didn't need very much is more economical than the big one. Oh, black olives. I don't have your standard black olives. I have Kalamata, which we did once before as a topping on. Wow, that pepperoni's got a spice to it. That surprised me. Kalamata. We did Kalamata for our non-pizza. Here they are. The other thing I've got are cured olives, and I think cured olives would be a better shout here. So I think we're going to cut a few of those guys up. You buy a pepperoni stick and slice. Yes, I've done that. I've done that too. But for some reason, Hormel brand, which is the brand of pepperoni that is the easiest to find and the only brand I've seen locally that has whole sticks. When they sell you the whole stick, they don't take the skin off, and the skin is not a natural casing. It's a plastic layer. It's inedible, and you have to peel it off, and it's very difficult to peel off, and it makes the pepperoni look real ugly. So I don't know if they're trying to discourage people from using their whole stick option, but they have successfully discouraged me from doing so. This one's got a decent little spice to it as well. We don't have any mushroom. I can't do a full, like, supreme pizza topping with. I also don't have any Italian sausage because I would have had to buy more than I'd be able to use. But I can add olives. Which need to be pitted. I looked at olives, and the problem there was one of those little cans of olives, which was the smallest thing I could get of fresh black olives. I'd never used the whole thing, and I've tried eating loose leftover black olives, and boy, by themselves, they're not good. These oil cured ones are those. These are the same ones I used to make those cookies. Let's squeeze that one out. The olive shortbread cookies. These are quite nice. They are a little on the salty side, so you want to be sparing with them. But they are mighty tasty. They do give you a strong hit of olive flavor because they're doubled up with olive oil. They're cured in salt and olive oil. And the jar is shelf stable, so I don't have to use all of them when I open the thing up. Bridgeford pepperoni stick. I don't know that I've seen that brand. I will keep an eye out. I've looked around in the past and given up, but perhaps things have changed and that might be a thing to find. I can find other brands of sliced pepperoni. The problem was the stick was only that one brand, Hormel, and the way they did theirs was really annoying. Okay, that should be enough toppings for a nice. Oh, it has like a. Oh, ooh! The olives have this lovely fruitiness to them that you really don't get from the canned ones, and they're also not like brined, so they don't have that brininess of like. What the hell was that? Oh. There's a man smoking on a motorcycle right outside my back door. Bizarre. These do have some extra salt because they're cured. So we're not escaping entirely the salt, but we don't have that brininess. Those sound like good toppings. Cheese, sauce. Don't know what that was. I don't know. I don't think we have a BJ's around here, right? I don't think I've got a BJ's. I guess we're at the point of let's take a peek at our thing. We're at the point of frying up our French toasts. We're at the stage of frying up our French toasts. Let's take a peek at our sauce, make sure we haven't burned it to the bottom. I've got it on real low just to sort of simmer the tomatoes together a little bit. We're not sticking because we're not hot enough to really adhere stuff. And we didn't dry it out because I left the lid on. I'm going to just take it completely off the heat so that it can cool down a smidge before I put it on my French toasts. Okay, BJ, Sam's, and Costco. I've got a Woodman's, a Costco that I don't have a membership for, and Festival, which is a regional grocery chain that's pretty good. Which pan? I know which pan. Not that pan. I know what pan is the pan for this panning, though. It's one we haven't used for a while, to the point where okay, I've got two options, I guess. I'm going to bring both of them. Did I mention I'm bringing both of them? Okay, we have two options for our pans. We have this guy, who has not been featured yet. As usual, I got him at, I think I got this one at Savers. He's wide, he's got a flat bottom, he's got a non-stick. Somehow this was a non-stick at a thrift store with nary a scratch to be seen. It's like brand new. It's got a little bit of spotting on the bottom. Looks like somebody did something with it, but the interior is pristine. Which, how could I say no? Especially since my large flat-bottomed nonstick has worn it out its welcome. But we've also got this guy. Remember this guy? The Hexclad, the $100 pan that I got for $8 that we discovered is bowed in the middle. Did I ever tell you I figured out why it's bowed in the middle? Because we talked about it when we did it the first time. When I tried to cook an egg on it and the egg ran to the edge. It's not a defect. It's not misuse from the previous owner. The company designs them with a bow in the middle for strength. Who in their right mind would create a pan that's deliberately not flat? You can't make eggs in this pan. You can make pancakes, but they're going to try to run to the side. This might be the pan for French toast, though, because French toast can't run. Bizarre. So I think that might be the pan for it. We haven't used it for a while because it seems not super useful. Isosceles. Is isosceles here? Isosceles is here. Isosceles was talking about the pepper. Homer's also here. Empanada is getting caught up real quick. Anyways, I think this is the pan, although it's also too wide for our burners. I might retire it. I might retire it back to the thing and use the other one. Although we've also got our cast iron griddle, We've also got our cast iron griddle that is nice and flat. Although I haven't used it a ton, so I am trusting that the seasoning on it is good. I'm a little concerned about using cast iron because of the egg content of our eggy bread. I don't want it to stick and tear. So I've talked myself into this one, which we have, as I said, never featured before. Let's get it heating up. And let's get out our bottle of olive oil, because we're using olive oil instead of butter. Is this one oven safe? Induction ready. Stovetop, not oven. Not oven. Cast iron's oven safe. Let me see the hex. Doesn't say anything. I think I'm going to stick with the baking pan. I want to put it in the oven so that I can brown our cheese and get our toppings all baked in place. So we're going to start heating this pan. With some olive oil. I also would like our French toasts to sizzle right away upon meeting the pan. So we're going to get this guy heated. Because I'm a little concerned about them being overly soft, and a way to secure for that is to get them on heat right away so that they can really bake in straight away. We're also going to get a catching plate for the... Yeah. So, now that we are at the moment of doing the thing, how's everyone doing today? How's it going? Happy March. Our last one was in March, wasn't it? It's the 10th. Yeah. Happy 2nd March. If you haven't heard, I'm going on a trip leaving this Wednesday to Costa Rica. I will be gone for St. Patrick's Day. I will be gone for the Ides of March, both of which are holidays we've celebrated here in the past, and I'm sad to miss them. I have added to our Discord, which I have now got a successful link up there at the top of chat. I've added to our Discord channels for wildlife and travel / outdoors stuff. Feel free to jump in and post in them yourself. That's what they're there for. I'll be posting pictures. Stay tuned. I'll try to take pictures of any interesting foods we come across too. I've been to a different part of Central America, much farther north, specifically Guatemala. So there's going to be some differences for sure. Okay. Let's get cooking. Let's cook getting. It did sizzle, and then it stopped sizzling. It kind of smothered itself out. I think I'm going to do these one at a time. Try to get them really good. That should be our flipper of choice. Gas savings is enough to pay all 3 memberships for the year. Oh, Sam's. We have a Sam's Club here too. Never go there. And I toured the Costco and decided that I wouldn't spend enough there. I wouldn't save enough by shopping there to warrant buying the membership. It didn't jive. Which I know is kind of a me thing. I shop very strangely because I shop for this a lot. So I need small amounts of a lot of different things more than I need large amounts of a few things. Which I know is not normal. Is not typical. But it's what we're working with around here. Let's take a peek. Ooh, it glides. I want a little more browning on the bottom. It glides around, though. This is a very nice nonstick pan. Yeah, I know Tug talks about Costco, and he's got 2 teenagers. And also he's like a fitness man who does daily exercises. So for that kind of situation, it seems super worth it. For me, just me, got no kids, got no wife. And also I need weirdly small amounts of lots of different things. It doesn't really jive. I do know they do prescriptions. And with Walgreens being destroyed, it might be our only options pretty soon. Did you hear they're killing Walgreens? Okay, we're going to flip this. It's very soft. We're going to flip this. Hey, that's good looking French toast. That's some solid looking French toast right there. I think I want to oil the toasts themselves a little bit more. So we're going to oil the tops of the ones that are waiting, and then I will oil the other side just before I flip them. But that's some good looking French toast right there. That's what I'm talking about. How's our structural integrity? It looks like we've got it around the edges and it's pretty squidgy in the middle. So I actually haven't tasted much of any of Costco's food because I don't have a membership, so I can't buy stuff. So I can look at stuff, and I go in, and I eat their free samples, and then I leave. I've been there a couple times and just enjoyed free samples. Not since their latest crackdown, but they've also got like TVs and stuff. The kinds of things they've got there kind of weird me out. The Homer was on TikTok. Homer and Empanada both missed each other in the chat, just kind of. Muffins. See, I always hear they got good food, and I just, ooh, these are looking pretty good. These French toasts, they're looking pretty good. We're getting the browning, even though there's no sugar in there. I don't want them to be completely burnt to a crisp. But I think that's kind of where we're gonna call that one, because the browning is sort of is inching in toward the middle. It's nice to have a little bit of a custardy soft spot in the middle. I'm gonna splash some oil right off the back there. I'm gonna plunk that guy down and do the next one. Now, for the next one, I drizzled some oil right on the top of it, so that there's definitely oil in the middle underneath when I slap it down. Because I don't think that was necessarily happening with the first one. The first one, the pan was a little bit cool as well, so it definitely took longer. Although I kind of want to take the temperature down a smidge, because I liked it. Make French toast. French toast is great. French toast is amazing. And if you're making your own bread, which is a lot easier than people think. You don't have to make sourdough. You don't have to be super complicated. You can make basic-ass bread, basic-ass white bread. When it goes stale, that homemade stale bread is the absolute best French toast, because it's got a lot more structure to it. Not these store-bought ones. This is a store-bought one. Not these store-bought ones that are kind of cakey. So that first one took a little bit longer on account of the low temp. This one should go a little faster because our pan was fully heated. We had our sizzle right away. Got my olive oil. Turn the brand name away from the audience because they didn't pay me. It's petty. Sponsor me, Nanina. So just a little sprinkle of oil on the top before the flip. Ooh, our pan is definitely hot. I'm going to give these guys a double-side flip as well. But our pan is definitely hotter. That one went a lot faster, and I don't want to burn these guys. Much like the pancake, the first one always comes out a little bit weird. The reason your first pancake comes out weird is because there's too much fat in your pan, and it ends up frying instead of pan-caking. In the case of these guys, I want them to fry. I want a lot of fat in the pan. The first one was just because the pan was too cold. It took us longer to get through it. We could probably do the other two together. They did soak up most of our juice, which is good, because I don't want to have to waste our juice, because it's full of precious, precious egg. precious egg. Well, if you do make French toast, drop a picture in the Discord. I'd love to see it. Although, I don't know why it has to be mean. Why can't it be a nice French toast? A kind French toast. Boy, I like this pan. As a first outing, this pan is for its first appearance. This pan is absolutely killing it today. I'm glad I grabbed it because it's replacing, functionally, it's replacing this pan. You may remember we've seen this pan before, which has, it's not as wide, but it has a very similar functional area because it's flat all the way out to the edges and it goes straight up. This one has a sloped side, so you can do some tossy toss, but the flat part is about the same size. You'll remember the last time we used this one for anything that was remotely sticky, it stuck. And I've had this one for a long time, so I'm not surprised that it's wearing out finally. But it was time to retire it. I've still got it because I'm loath to throw any pan out. I've got ones that are definitely over the hill. I think we do the remaining two at the same time. Spread out our oil a little bit. I think we do the remaining two here at the same time to save a little bit of time. I did the first one by itself just as an experiment to make sure that we are working. These are very soft too. Oop, damn, that one tore. That one did not tear. That one tore, which, very unfortunate. Bread was too soft. And I was a little bit cavalier with it. Hopefully the egginess will help pull it together. That one might just be a little bit of a wonky one. We will put that one to the back. We are going to oil the tops again. Just a little drizzle. I think this is the way to do the oil for these guys, rather than trying to oil the pan itself. Because once they're soaked in the egg milk mixture, in our custard mix, the oil won't soak in, it'll just ride on top, which it's been doing. Which is great. That's what I wanted it to do. And I plastic wrapped our pan so that I can, in one swift motion, clean it up. There you go, pan clean. Pan completely clean. Let's put some parchment down on said pan. My shears are absent. Sorry, Panetta. Homer's already gone. Homer's already wandered off. You're zooming past each other yet again. Okay, let's see how well this torn one flips. It might be tricky. It was a little tricky, but not too bad. That one, perfect. It's good looking French toast. That's some good looking French toast. What do you guys like to do with your French toast? I know sweet is the most popular option. But it is not the only option because the underlying principle of it is a custard, and custards don't have to be sweet. For example, this one is going to be savory. The other thing I thought about doing when I was thinking, because we started from the perspective of I have some bread that I'm going to have to use up today, and I have some eggs that I would like to use up today. And we ended up with this. As I was thinking about toppings, the fact that I had leftover cheese was a big convincing factor in doing pizza. But I thought about doing prawn toast. We haven't done prawn toast as a thing here, but I thought that sounded real good, real good. That would be a shrimp and scallions mix. You thought you had a syrup emote. That's a syringe. Syringe. Sus. Sus. You Canadians and your syrup and your mousse. Go eat a mousse. Needs a little bit more time on that side. I'm tired of being Canada's pants. I've had elk, and I imagine moose is very much like elk. Probably gamier, probably a bit tougher because they're, you know, real big. Oh, less gamey. Interesting to know. Never had moose. Ooh, that's looking pretty good. That's looking pretty good. That one's a little bit over. That one's over to the point where I'm going to just take that one out. Let it rest here because I think resting on the plate was good. And we will finish this guy with just a smidge more. And that's going to be the toast part. Now you got to eat a moose. If I'm ever able to get a hold of bear, we're going to do something with bear. That is a game meat, and I do not have a supplier. So probably a long way off. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. We can take our heat off. We're going to leave the spatula out because I'm going to need it for the pizzas as well. This pan we do not need. Get it off the heat. All of our things are off. Yeah, okay. Looking good, looking good, looking good. Glad I decided to make sauce. Otherwise, we would have had a long period of standing around there. Goldie, Goldie, get on in here, Goldie. How's it going? We're sliding over here. We're sliding back over here. We're we're arranging our French toasts. We're arranging our French toasts. For how massively soggy they were at the beginning, to the point where that one has a rupture in it from tearing, they're pretty stable. So it worked. I was a little bit worried. This was a very soft bread that we started with, which is why I wanted to make sure that it had plenty of time to go dry. I put it out this morning to make sure it was really dried out. Our sauce. Our chunky sauce. I think that is going to be one spoon each. How's it going, Goldie? Welcome in. You are just in time for me to assemble, although this is not the final phase, because these guys also need to be baked. Otherwise the cheese won't be melty. It'll just be kind of sad. Sad cheese on your pizza is not what you want. You're not wrong, Raya. You're not wrong with that assessment. Pizza sauces tend to be super basic, because they're meant to be a base for other stuff. Whereas a marinara usually wants to be a little bit more complex because you're depending on it to carry a lot of the flavor. And depending on who you ask, pizza sauce may even just be uncooked crushed tomatoes, trusting that the pizza oven will cook them, will finish them for you. Okay, we don't want to waste our cheese. Any cheese that's not on top of these guys will just burn onto the paper, so... Okay. Okay, looking good, looking good. There's one big piece there. Looking good, looking good, looking good. I don't have the oven on. I should probably put the oven on. Hot. I definitely cut too much onion for this. They're quite small. Oh, we should make a real marinara, like mariner's sauce with the seafood and the whole shebang. Obviously not today. Oh, Goldie, you stumped me. Moule marinara? Marinière? That sounds probably. It's going to be plenty of those. We could have done them all different, I suppose. They are very small. Cheese crisps. Ooh, that's an interesting idea. Suppose if I wanted to do this where I wasn't going to bake it after the fact, we could come up with different ideas. We're also going to get quite a lot of toppings on these guys. All these little fellers. Mussels cooked in broth. So I have seen it is an Italian marinara. It's like the OG Italian marinara. It's because the name marinara is mariner's sauce. It's the sauce of the mariners. And the reason it's tomatoey is because tomatoes, of course, are not from Italy, and they arrived by ship, so they were coming in that direction. But they also threw a lot of seafood in it. It was mussels and shrimp and all that sort of stuff cooked into a tomato sauce and then served on pasta. So it was still a tomato sauce. Okay, let's chuck this in our oven that is not quite hot yet. And I guess we wait. And now we wait. I know there are French seafood sauces as well. And we've done some proper French cooking around here before, and it can get very fiddly, especially with sauces. I'm eating those extra pepperonis because they're very good. So our sauce has the oregano and the basil in it because I have no fresh basil, so I wanted to get the basil in there. But loose basil on top will burn. Even dried loose basil on top will burn. I will still often do that. If I have a frozen pizza, I'll top it with dried oregano and dried basil to goose it up a little bit. I feel like oregano stands up to the oven a lot better, but dried basil just does not. It's very fragile stuff. Having it in the sauce, get that flavor infused into the sauce, also helps shield it from the heat of the oven, so we won't get that sort of burnt bit. Especially since these guys are quite small, and I'm thinking of hitting them with the broiler to get that top to kind of melt into place. I'm not starting it on the broiler. I'm starting it on a regular oven, just turned up hot, so the thing should blast it for a while from below. Anyways, cheese crisps. I think if I was doing cheese crisps, I wouldn't re-bake the pizza. It'd be more of a disassembled thing. I'd do the French toast. I'd probably infuse the French toast with the herbs directly, like make a custard infusion with some flavors so that that could soak in. So you'd have to do either steep it or do a heated custard to get those flavors to infuse with the garlic and the herbs. Because if you put them on the surface, if you just put the flavors on the surface, they'll burn in the pan while you're trying to cook the French toast. While you're trying to cook the eggs to solidness. And then if I had that, you could make a thinner tomato sauce and treat it more like a syrup. Like, cook it down, make sure there's no skins in it, really thin it out. Like, cook it down to almost a paste and then thin it back out and strain it into a really sort of thin sauce so that it would be more like a syrup. You might even start with tomato juice. You might even take tomato juice and cook it down to make sure there was no bits in it at all. And then the cheese crisp would be a topping for that. You could even probably jam it in lengthwise so that it did one of those decorative fins. That's an interesting idea. It's an interesting idea. It would take this all in a different direction than I have gone today. But it's got my wheels spinning. It's got my wheels spinning. Goldie, your dried basil is so old. Used it as sauce, and you need to chuck it because it has no flavor. That is the case with dried herbs, except for thyme, I guess, really holds up pretty well. Any of those herbs where the leaves are crushed already, they really lose their flavor. Um, this year I bought, so my dried basil is less than a year old. It's probably only 4 months old at most. Because I bought it when I didn't get a good harvest from my herbs this past fall. Um, let's look at my face. I'm just talking to you. Um, what I like to do is grow basil and then dry that and keep the leaves whole and then crush them as needed, because then they retain a lot more of their flavor. And then you only need them to get from fall to the next summer when the next basil is coming up. Um, Basil really goes quick. So I bought basil because my harvest was bad. This basil only needs to get me until I can plant fresh basil. Um, Drying it is not, drying your own basil is not that hard. It dries pretty well, just hanging it. I've tried doing it in the dehydrator and it gets very brown. Heating it makes it go very brown very fast. Keeping it bright green is very difficult as well. Even the stuff that they sell you is got this brownish tint to it. Oregano, I think, I stopped growing oregano a little while ago. It's better to buy the fresh, to use the fresh stuff, but it's not that much better. I just wish that they didn't crush the leaves. If they just picked the leaves and threw them in here, that'd be perfect. Thyme, we also have thyme. We have thyme. Thyme holds up super, super well because the leaves aren't crushed. Thyme leaves are just that small to begin with. So they just strip them off and throw them in, dry them and throw them in there. And that, I think, is why thyme holds up super well. Tarragon, similarly, the leaves are quite small, so they're not getting really massively crushed up. Basil's the one outlier where it just doesn't make sense to get dried basil unless you can go through the entire container or are willing to throw some of it out in a couple of months. The aromatics in it are very volatile. The leaves are quite large, so they have to go through quite a lot of crushing in order to get them into those things. Yeah, it's just kind of a different beast. Anyways, spring's coming. Don't forget to plant some basil. Try to plant enough or grow enough that you can harvest and dry some of it, and then you will have good basil, good dried basil, until next summer when you can grow some again. Rosemary, same thing. I have my own dried rosemary. This is one I picked myself. And I just stripped the leaves off, didn't crush them at all, and they are very pungent. Let's take a peek at our pizzas. The cheese is starting to melt. The pepperonis are starting to get sweaty, but they're not intensely cooked down yet. Our oven is still running the heat. We haven't switched to holding mode yet. I'm not quite ready to broil it. We're just going to kill a little bit of time. We just have to kill a little bit of time. How much sauce did I end up with left? Just a smidge. Just a smidge of sauce left. Not really enough to do anything with. If there was a little bit more of it there, I would add some oil and stick blend it. Try to make like a drizzle. Which still could work, but then I'd have to clean the stick blender. I'm trying to keep my dishes a little bit less today. That knife back behind the, oh, you're looking at the ceiling. You can see where the smoke detector used to be. I always try to angle my camera so that you aren't looking directly at the place that I have removed the smoke detector, because I don't advocate removing smoke detectors, but also I don't advocate putting smoke detectors in the kitchen. They'll never stop going off. I'm going to put a few things away while we're killing some time here. Do I have any new gadgetry I want to talk about? I've got windows open, but now it's starting to cool off because the sun's going down. I don't know that I have any new gadgetry. What's the most recent thing I got? I found a taco holder. Did I already show you guys the taco holder? I found a taco holder for $2. We could do tacos sometime. It's all steel, except for these little handles, which are some kind of rubber, which means you can't bake the whole thing, which I found disappointing because, boy, it'd be nice to sort of, because the steel would be fine, but these little rubber handles would melt. The thing is great. It's much nicer than the little plastic ones. Not oven safe because of those handles, unless I can somehow cut those handles off. These little plastic ones are the ones I found previously, and they work well enough. But for like $2, this one was well worth it. But yeah, these handles, they're loose. You can like twist them, but there's no way to get them off without like cutting into them. I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't seem like it would be safe. They're kind of a rubbery material. I was thinking, because this part's all steel, you could take like a tortilla, you could take a set of tortillas, put them over the holders upside down, and roast that to get them to harden in shape. You could make your own crispy tortilla shells at home, but with the handles not being oven safe, I can't do that. Exactly, make your own shell. That's what I thought when I first saw it, and then I couldn't figure out how to get those handles off. Anything else I've got around here? No, that's all stuff I've had. That's all stuff I had. I showed you the wok last time. I still haven't seasoned it. We'll do that, and then when we come back, I found a shelf. My latest gadget is a shelf, which isn't a gadget, it's just a shelf. I am always on the lookout for nice shelves, or at least decent shelves, because I keep getting things, and the gadgets need places to live when I'm not using them. So shelves are my shortage. Let's take a peek at our pizzas. We are, ooh, they're doing something. They're doing something. I hear geese. I hear geese out of my open window. Let's see. I've got a little bit of shallot and a little bit of jalapeno left. I can use that and I've got one duck egg left. I guess I could make. I'm still trying to think of how to use stuff up effectively. I could do a scrambled egg in the morning for breakfast. Scrambled duck egg, the rest of that shallot, those little bits of jalapeno, just like a real quick Just like a real quick little scrambly thing. That's probably the best way to use those guys up. Sandhill cranes already. Wow. Yeah. Migration seems like it's going to be really, really early this year. I have, other than Canada geese, I haven't seen any migrants, but boy, it's just like open the gates, they're coming. Because I said when I started, my computer said it was 69 here. My car got up to 66. It is supposed to cool off now over the next couple of days. This was our peak, but it's not supposed to get back to winter temperatures until next winter. I don't think so. winter might be dead. You think I'm going to have leftover French toast pizza? You don't think I'm going to eat all 4 of these tonight? I think I'm going to eat all 4 of these tonight. I think they're all gonna get eaten. We'll see. We'll see. Let's take a peek. What are we looking at? They're looking pretty good. The peppers have sunk into the cheese. The shallot pieces should have been cut a little bit thinner. They're going to be a little bit on the thick. We're trying to avoid leftovers, yes, because I'm leaving, and I suppose leftovers for tomorrow, and then anything I can't finish tomorrow is gone. I'm throwing out some stuff in the fridge even because it's just gonna be creepy by the time I get back. I bought some dill that we never used. Very, very sad. I had a plan and the plan never happened. I actually canceled stream that day. That was the last day I canceled stream. How long are we going on vacation for? There's my calendar. I leave Wednesday to drive to our starting point because the plane leaves at the pre-dawn. Well, it's still dark. 5 a.m. I think is when the plane leaves on Thursday. So I'm leaving on Wednesday so that I can be there. And then it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, flying back on the 10th day, driving back on the 11th day. So the 23rd is my return here to this building. To this house, which means I will be available for stream on the 24th, but I will not have had time to plan anything. So it will either be a quick slap together, whatever I can find, Madhouse Day, or that could be a good day to break into those Legos. Because we have a Lego set that we haven't done yet. Because then I could at least have a stream with you guys, talk about the trip. Excellent thing to talk over is doing Legos, and not have to worry about getting a recipe prepped up. So that's probably going to be the plan. I'm not going to set that in stone. I might just be exhausted and not want to do anything, but tentatively, that's, I think, what would happen at the far end of it. So yeah, 11 days, 13 days counting all the travel on both ends. Let's take a look at the pizzas. Ooh, they're getting a little brown on the edges, little brown bits on the edges. Do I want to broil them real quick? The cheese is all melted. What is that sound? What is that sound? What is that sound? Okay, well, that sound, which you could probably not hear, that was the sound of someone raking the sidewalk with a rake. because my windows are open so I can hear it. I don't know what they're raking, but they're raking the sidewalk. This should only need, oh yeah, the edges of the cheese are getting right browned, right well browned. So I'm going to give us a quick blast with the broiler. Try to get a little bit, just a smidge extra browning right on the tops of these guys. And then we're going to take it out. So it should only need moments. It should only need a few moments under the broiler. We can think about plating. We can think about plating. I'm tempted to go for the square plate. We could use the plate I used to take the French toasts out of the pan. Or we could, this might actually be a good day to use the black golf ball. What do you guys think? I can bring out, I can haul out any of these plates if you want to see them as well. My first impression is this one, white square. There's the sound of my broiler kicking in. We could do black circle. We could do red circle. You know what? Square plate for square food makes sense. Make sure we're not burning this. Ooh, off. That was the extent of what it needed. Literally just moments. In fact, I'm going to take it out. I'm going to take it out before it goes any further. It's hot. It's hot. It's hot. Look at them go. Look at those little buggers. They look perfect. I don't want them to get any further than that. Okay, the other option is the olive motif. Which could be a fitting thing. I think it's between these two. We'll let these chill out a little bit before I pull them off. We could serve them as is. We could cut them on the diagonal to give like triangular pieces. I know French toast is usually served just as a slab, but once, because that's two more votes for the square. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. That's why I ask. That's why I ask. We'll bring the white square to the center. That'll be our service plate. I could also cut one of them so that I could have like a decorative triangles and leave the other ones intact. They look really good. They look real good. They smell... They don't smell bad. I'm not going to say they smell bad. They don't quite smell like pizza. I think it's because I'm not getting any of that pizza crust smell. The crust is part of the smell of a pizza. And that's obviously not present here because that's French toast. So they're going to be different. I can already tell you they're going to taste different. Because we're going to lose that. We're going to swap out that. Not we're going to lose. We're going to swap out that that pizza crust flavor and smell for French toast. I think I want to cut one of them on the diagonal to make it look like pizza slices, and then the other 3, maybe we should only serve 2. Maybe we should serve 1 whole and 1 sliced. How would I compare it to something like a baguette pizza? Well, it doesn't, that's the thing, it doesn't even smell like very bready. It doesn't even smell super bready. I guess we'll find out. Bookwoman votes on doing just 2 on our service plate. I dripped some oil on our service plate. I like the idea of having one of them cut into triangles. So let's grab one, bring it over here, and let's grab a second one and bring it over here. If we serve 2, the thing is, I don't know that 2 is going to be enough to make it really look good on this plate. Compared to how big they are to the plate, I feel like having more on the plate might be nice. I really like the look of this one intact, so I'm not going to cut that one, regardless of what else we do. Where's the maple syrup? We did not include maple syrup. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do an inventive service. That one. That one. Ooh, we got a cheese stretch. Does that look good? I mean, it's always going to kind of look just like a bunch of pizza. Does that look too much like just a bunch of pizza? One more triangle? We can play. They're still hot. They're going to stay hot while I do this because they're quite hot. They're retaining heat quite well. one more triangle for an odd number of triangles. TK wants to do them all as wedges. I like the look of that one as an intact pizza. How about that? How about that? That looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. Then we got sort of nice triangles. You can see the outline of the bread in the back. And we have one that I can taste without messing up my plate. I can taste that one independently of the plate. Let's clean up these little sauce spots. Going in with the paper. This is something I learned from watching Sorted Food. If you've never watched Sorted Food, they're British. They're British guys. They've made a whole career of this cooking online. They're on YouTube. They're not on Twitch as far as I know. It's from them that I learned of taking the paper towel and just getting right up in your food. Makes the plate look so much better. Bookwoman says get rid of one of the large pieces. I think the back of the plate will look quite naked without them. And also, there's going to be a lot of cleaning up to do. Of the oil. No, I think I'm going to stick with it. I think I'm satisfied with the plate. I think it looks good. It'll look better. Remember, you guys are also looking at it from directly above, which is always a little bit of an awkward thing. The angle shot for our glamour shot looks a little different. I know there's no way for me to really avoid that. What I could do, though, lick the grease off my fingers real quick. Okay, let's taste this. Let's taste this thing. So I switched which one of the slices was on top. I will look at the pictures and figure out which one I think looks nice. But yeah, let's taste this thing. With the piece that's not even on our thing. So that I can take more pictures if I need to. It's hot. It's hot. That is interesting. It is very different from regular pizza. You can really taste the French toast in there. That creamy, eggy flavor of French toast really jumps through. I thought it would get lost under all this. It super did not. It is right there. It's interesting. It's real different. It's crispy around the outer edge, but it's really tender soft in the middle. But since the bread was already baked, it's not doughy. It's just really, really soft. And it has that custardy flavor and that French toast texture. I'm surprised at how much. I am surprised at how much that tastes like French toast. It needs. So I didn't add any spice because when I tasted the pepperoni by itself, it was on the spicy side, and I thought that would be enough. It needs a little bit of like a red pepper flake. It needs a little. It needs a little bit of a spicy oomph. Other than that, it works really well. It is definitely not just pizza with a weird crust. It tastes distinctly different. It's hard to. I like it. You know what's most interesting about it? I'm used to that flavor going with the chew of a pizza crust. And even when you do something like pizza bagels, bagels have that chew. This does not. It has a crisp and it has a tender, almost an almost squidgy tenderness. But I'm glad we cooked those until they were nice and crispy on both sides, because if it was any less, they would have been mushy. So you really got to make sure your French toast is cooked solid before you put anything like this on it. It's interesting. It's super interesting. Half a teaspoon of chili crisp. You know, I seeded out all those jalapenos, and I even mentioned that it wasn't a very hot jalapeno. I think if we just left the jalapeno seeds in there, probably would have been fine. Or get a jalapeno that was actually spicy. I think that would have fixed it too. Like I thought about the spice levels. We just kind of undershot a little bit. If this had been a jalapeno on the hot end of the jalapeno scale, that would have fixed this. This one issue. Again, not that it's a big problem. It's just the one small issue is I wish this had a little bit more of a bite to it, because that custardy flavor, I think, is helping it mellow it out. I don't have any crushed red pepper on hand. All I've got is gochugaru, which is not the right kind of red pepper. All I've got are the powders, which get very punchy. I can put just a smidge. I can try to put just the tiniest little dusting. See how that works. Just a tiniest little sprinkle. I think including some crushed red pepper in the sauce, or again, just getting a spicy jalapeno instead of this really mild one, which is almost impossible to tell. That works really well. I'm fascinated at how much this is different from a standard pizza. I was kind of expecting this just to kind of taste like pizza with a weird texture, and I'm really intrigued by the fact that you can super taste the French toast coming through the pizza, and that it works. Wow, interesting, fascinating. It might, since we used duck egg has a richer flavor. That might be part of what is causing this, but I think I will let you know on Discord if any of this reheats, if any of this survives the evening. That is the pizza test. That is the pizza test. A pizza I feel should be good the next morning for breakfast. So if one of these guys lives through the night, we'll find out. I'm fascinated. I'm fascinated by where this took us. I have to think about this now, because if this works like this, then what else could we do with a French toast base? Last time I made savory French toast, I salted the custard, and it made the French toast part of our French toast way too salty. I didn't salt it at all this time, and I relied on only the toppings to be our salt factor, and that works. I don't know. I feel like the air fryer with the fan in there. I'm not sure. We can give it a test in the air fryer. The way I did it in the oven was I actually put it in the oven before the oven was fully preheated and let it heat up with it, because the crust was already cooked. The French toast was already cooked. We were just trying to get the toppings in place. And then I broiled it right at the end just to get some browning. I feel like the air fryer, because it hits you with that really hard blast of heat from the top and the fan, the loose toppings I think would blow around. So you'd have to make sure your toppings were really chunky. Even like loose cheese will blow around on top of something in an air fryer. So I'm not sure. We could test it. I'm not sure it would work. I feel like the air fryer might just make a, because the way it blows, its tornado of hot air in there. It would kind of scatter the toppings. That would be my main concern. A toaster oven would be perfect. Just a little toaster oven that you could turn just the hot top one on and shoot it. Our pressure oven, just don't use the pressure setting, and it is good enough that I would make a few tweaks, and I would do it again. And I want to play around with putting things on top of French toast that normally don't go on French toast, because it is definitely bringing a different flavor to the. It's so interesting. I have a lot to think about it with this one. I'm also going to probably do a pretty good number on what we've got here. Okay, well, I guess that's where we're going to wrap it up. I have to think about what's going on with the French toast. So, chicken salad on French toast. Chicken salad on French toast? Possibly. I, in fact, thought about French toast sandwich, which we did once before. If you were here for that, that was sweet French toast. That was our alcoholic peanut butter and jelly sandwich, if you remember that thing. If you remember that thing. I did cut, also, by the way, I cut my beard because we're going to the tropics and I didn't want it to be real long. But if you remember that thing, that was also French toast on the outside of that. Yeah, well, it was an idea spawned of, what have I got on hand? What have I got to use up before I leave? Bread, eggs. So yeah, I won't be back next time. I won't be back next week. It will be at the earliest the 24th will be our next shot. Um, and at that point, it's tentative because it's literally the day after I get back. Um, so yeah, it's gonna be 2 weeks. Stay tuned to the Discord though. I've created those new channels in the Discord, and I intend to take photographs of the trip and pop them there. So if you're not in my Discord, there is a link at the top of chat. I've got that in place this time. Jump on in. So yeah, 2 weeks with no me, except for photos. I'll also take food photos if I run across any really fun looking foods on the trip. So yeah, thanks for showing up. Thanks for sticking with me. Thanks for ideas. It's always valuable to get feedback from you guys while I'm plating and while I'm throwing ingredients together. Thanks for the subs that led us into an early hype train. Sorry we didn't get any emotes out of it, but what are you going to do? Yeah. I'm going to go close some windows because the sun's going down and we're going to lose our heat. Ryuya indeed has our primary raid message and our secondary raid message. If you are subbed, use the top one. If you are not subbed, please use the bottom one. And let's find out where we're going to go. Who's on? Lee, we haven't seen Lee chat in a while. Cybertraz is on. It's been up for 3 hours. Cybertraz. We went to see Chef Jay before. I might peek in. He's making confit bialdi galette, which sounds amazing. But I think we're gonna go bug Cybertraz. I think I want to go bug Cybertraz. Cybertraz, friend of the channel, been here a number of times here in the chat with you guys. You probably all know him from other places I frequent as well. Currently playing Phasmophobia. There's a new map. And yeah, I guess that's all she wrote. Take care of yourselves. I hope America's still here when I get back. It's kind of up in the air these days. Yeah. I guess I can wait for the countdown. I don't have much else to say. We don't have grand plan. Oh, I found an unused French press. That's my latest gadget find. It was $3. I just remembered that because I put it there so I could wash it. Yeah. Normally I talk about what I'm going to do next time, and that's not happening this time. So I'm just going to wave you guys out. Ryu doesn't like coffee. Bye. Bye.